Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Me as well. Good. This is the last topic of Unit 1. This is why do we study information system? It's a very short topic. Why do we study information system? Basically, earlier it was not necessary for managers to know in general about technology, about how information is being processed, collected, what benefit it entails to an organization. It was not so very necessary for people to know, and people had little knowledge of it. It did not make much of a difference. But now technology plays a great role because your part of your organization could be maybe in US, China, and then it's necessary to know how technology acts as an enabler for an organization. So you have part of the organization in far-flung part of the world, and therefore it is very necessary for you to know. So every manager has some information, or they have some idea of what technology does, how it is an enabler, how it has benefit its own organization or other organizations. And we club these, and there are many changes which have come about over decades, and we club them into three groups, and that is what we will be focusing on our discussion today. We will be focusing, our focus of our discussion will be on those three changes which have taken place and which has made it essential for managers to know how technology is an enabler, how technology can help working in their organization. So we put it as earlier managers did not know how information was collected, stored, processed, or distributed. Also, the information technology involved in organization was minimal. The investment was also minimal. Management process was considered to be face to face. It was considered to be a personal art, and it was not. It was a coordination by meeting or interacting with the person and with the person, because they were all working under the same roof. But then things have changed, so we cannot resort to it. Management process earlier was considered to be face to face, a personal art, not far flung global coordination process. Today, information technology involved in organization is very high, investment is high, information technology plays a critical role. Also it has great relevance, it gives a company a competitive advantage. So you cannot be ignorant about technology and its use. So managers need to know how, they need to have a knowledge of how it is being used. Many changes have taken place over decades, which we club them as into three groups: emergence of a global economy, transformation of industrial economy to service-based economy, and lastly, transformation of the enterprise in itself. That is, within the organization, many changes have come about. So we club them as a globalization of the economy. Second, as transformation from a industrial economy to a service-based economy, and finally transformation of the enterprise. That is, within the enterprise also many changes have come about. So our discussion will focus on these three changes which have taken place. Our discussion today will focus on these three changes. Now, first is emergence of a global economy. So what this basically talks about is that every firm today is working on a global scale. So there are very few firms which are operating only in the domestic level. So it is necessary for us to ascertain how technology can help us in coordination process, how it is necessary to disseminate information to far-flung countries where a counterpart is working. So there are very few firms who is working on a domestic level. And when you open to the world and when you work on a global scale, the cost of a wrong decision is very high. So if we err, it will have spillover effect across, and it is going to be huge. So you try to use technology, you try to harness technology to help you make good decisions, right decisions. So the benefit from a right decision is also going to be huge. So emergence of a global economy, most firms today operate on a global scale. They are no more operating on a domestic level. Therefore, success of a firm today depends, and also in the future depends upon how you operate globally, how you operate on a global scale. Organizations need to coordinate with the distributors who are placed all across the globe. They need to coordinate with suppliers who are again at far-flung countries. They need to satisfy even customers in different parts of the world. Firms need to manage business on a global scale. So when one operates at a global level, loss from a wrong decision could be very high. Gain from a right decision also is very high. Now we talk of Global Production Network. In short, it is known as GPN, Global Production Network. This is a network which is created wherein companies come to one specific country to produce there, but they produce for the world market. So this is also emerging. So some company comes to India and they set up their manufacturing base to India, and from here they send to far-flung countries. Why they do so is because of maybe low cost of manufacture, maybe because of low cost skill, because of prevalent or availability of high technical knowledge available in India. There could be many reasons. So we call it Global Production Network. Production can be integrated globally to take benefit of low labor costs. They come to India also because of government policy. They're giving support to foreign countries to set up the base here. So because of zero duty free trade zones where 100% of the manufactured items are for export, so you get many benefit by setting up a base here. So because of government support policy, government policy which encourages foreign companies to come to India, it is because of low labor cost. You get labor at a very low cost. It could be because of availability of skilled labor. So production can be integrated globally to take benefit of low labor cost. You produce in one market and sell to the rest of the world. Like Hyundai has a 50-50 ratio. That is the production base in near Chennai in South India. They produce 50% for the Indian market, and rest of the 50% they produce for the rest of the world. Maruti Suzuki, they have a 70-30 ratio. So 70% of the production carried on here in India is for the Indian market, and 30% they export. For instance, Baleno is made only in India, but it is exported to Japan and Europe. Maybe the design is coming from the mother country, but it is produced in India and it is sold to 100 countries across the world. So this is now you see how technology will be an enabler when you need to coordinate with distributors, when you need to coordinate with your manufacturing in one country, and you need to coordinate with sales base or marketing base which is held in different countries. So organizations now operate in open and unprotected global markets. Organizations need to tread very carefully and cautiously, and therefore they rely on powerful information system. Globalization increases the value of information technology and system one deploys. Information systems provide the communication and the analytical power for organization to operate at a global level. So this is the first reason. That is, now there are very few organizations who work only at the domestic level. Large number of organizations are working on a global scale, where the cost of a wrong decision is going to be very high, and the benefit that you can get from right decision is going to be very high. And therefore, you use powerful communication technology to enable you to coordinate with distributors, suppliers, sellers all across the world. We took an example of Global Production Network, where companies come to one particular country. Like India is seen a destination for your GPN. So it's providing a base, particularly for the electronics and the automobile sector. Countries are coming to India, they're manufacturing in India, and from here they're selling all across the world. So you have Hyundai, which has a 50-50 ratio. 50% of the production is for the Indian market. So Hyundai came to India because India is emerging as one of the top market for automobiles. So it's a large market base for automobiles. So you have many automobile companies who are coming to manufacture in India so that they have a market here to sell. And beyond that, they're also producing here to sell abroad because cost of labor is low. There's availability of skilled labor, and also there is government policy, which encourages foreign countries to come to India. So there are a number of reasons why India is emerging as a global production network. But they are setting up base here to sell all across the world. Technology plays a great enabler in such instances. Second reason is transformation of industrial economy to a service-based economy. So India started as an agro-based economy. Then they developed the industry, and lately we have moved to a service sector. This is also called what we call a knowledge-based economy. So this gradual shift has taken place. We were reliant more on agriculture, then on industries, and now we rely more on service sector. Service economy is an economy where the primary economic activity is the provision of services rather than the production of goods. So we're not relying more on producing goods, but we're relying more on giving services. Today, people no more therefore work in farms, or there are very few who are working in factories. But now we find a scenario has emerged where we find people working in insurance companies, banks, retail, healthcare, housing and dwelling, hospitality, travel and tour, nursing, education and training. This is what represents the service sector: transport, entertainment and recreation, hospitality, social work, media, communication, electricity, gas, water supply, and so on. So gradually we move from agro to industry, and now reliance is more on the service sector, which is growing. Even the contribution to GDP, you can see how it contributes 54% to the GDP. Service sector contributes 54% to the GDP in 2020. So how it is increasing. So our contribution to the GDP is highest in case of service sector. Now you can see that the service sector is growing. We have something like 54%, 54.77 of the total GVA of it rounds up, sums to be 183.43 crores Indian rupees, and the remaining is for the allied sectors. Now, what does this sector do? This sector basically works with information, knowledge, they distribute knowledge, and they churn this knowledge to create new knowledge. So we call it a service sector or knowledge-based economy. The reliance on technology and system has become more and more important, as quality of decision would depend totally on the systems you deploy when we work in a service economy. So this is the second reason we have moved from agro to industry, and now reliance is more on the service sector. The service sector is growing. Hospitality, tourism, hospitals, banks, insurance, financial services. Financial services is increasing. And the third reason is what we call transformation of the enterprise. Within the company itself, within the enterprises itself, many changes have taken place. So management, basically what they do, they plan, they organize, they coordinate and control. This term you have used, we call it plan, organize, actuate and control many a time. And this is the term you must have used in concepts of management. What is the role of management? Planning, organizing, actuating and controlling. So this is, we say, is a function, and thereby create value for the organization. But how we plan, how we organize, how we coordinate and control has also changed, and how we create value for the organization has changed. And thereby the reliance on technology has increased. If information technology has transformed basically the way a manager would decide. Traditionally, and that has brought about many changes within the organization. Traditionally, businesses were hierarchical, that is, they had a long chain of command. I think we have discussed this, I'm sure, in great detail in concepts of management when you talk of the 14 principles of, I think, Fayol. So long chain of command means in order to get a permission, the lower man approaches one above him, he approaches one above him. So it's a long chain of command till it goes up for a sanction. So we believed in a hierarchy, long hierarchy, where the time for taking decision was very long, very high. We adopted fixed set of standard operating procedures. So this was the SOP for anything to be done. This is the method to be followed. It cannot be changed. And you had to strictly adhere to it. We believed in mass production. I think you understand mass production. You produce one item in large quantity in order to reduce the per unit cost of manufacture. You produce one item in large quantity in order to reduce the per unit cost. We believed in centralized decision making. So decision making was held in one hand. Uh, we had a structured setup, fixed method, no flexibility. The focus was on, but now things have changed. The focus was on specialists. So you had to be focused about one thing, and there were specialists who did only one kind of work. There were formal plans and rules laid down. They would not change. You had to stick to it. There was rigid division of labor. This is your work, and that is your work. There was strict loyalty. Uh, but our modern organization, all this has changed. We don't have a long hierarchy anymore. We have flatter structure. Flatter structure means we have an n number of people, but then who are reporting to me. We are interconnected, but it is the hierarchy has disappeared. Earlier, it was centralized decision making. Now we have decision making in different hands. Like if when you're operating on a global scale, you cannot expect decision to come to the headquarters. You have to delegate responsibility and decision making authority across the globe to people who are heading those SBUs. There were specialists who did one kind of work, but today we focus on generalists. So there's a flexible arrangement of people. So we talk of multi-skilling. So a person can be shifted from one part of the organization to another. So how can that be done? Through job rotation, what we call multi-skilling. Earlier we believed in mass-produced goods, standard items. Like if you remember, we gave a reference of Ford. We said you can have a car as long as it is black. So it was Model T, which was offered, and only one color. So there was standardization, standard items that we talked about. Today we talk of customization. We ask the customer, how do you want the product to be? And we design the product for him. Dell is a good instance, good example of customization, where they customize the computer as per the requirement of the person. So the new manager relies on informal commitments. There's no strict loyalty anymore. There's network to establish goals. Depending upon what is in hand, what is the project that you have in mind, you will create a group, a team, a group of people who will execute it. So that becomes your reporting relationship, your boss, all is dependent upon that. Once that goal is achieved, that network disintegrates. So there is no fixed arrangement that this is your boss. So depending upon the project in hand, a team is created, who reports to whom is created, what is his responsibility is created, and once the goal is accomplished, the team integrates. So there is flexible arrangement of teams and individuals working in tasks or projects or what we call groups. We have flexible people, so we can be shifted from one place to another. We have flexible machines. We have flexi timing, so that there is a core time, like between 11 to say 10 to 2, everybody has to be there in the organization. Rest is flexi time. So it's not necessary that everybody has to report to the organization at 8 o'clock and stay till 5. So we have flexible time, and there is a core time. So in this system, the core time, let's say, is from 10 to 2 o'clock. So you are there in the organization. Everybody has to be there in the organization from 10 to 2. Somebody who came at 8 can go back at 2 and work from home. Somebody who came at 10 can go back at 5, stay on beyond 2 o'clock and go once and do work from the office. So this is the concept of flexi timing. Then the reliance on technology increases. Now we take an example of job rotation and multi-skilling. Say a person is a stores man who issues material from the store for production process. He has raw material and he issues raw material for production process. Now the method that we follow is either LIFO or FIFO. I'm sure accounting students from commerce background will be able to relate to it. LIFO is last in, first out. So we issue it for production first. FIFO is first in, first out. So we issue those material which has been received by me at the stores first. We issue him first. Issue those material first, and we maintain record of it. Now, if the storesman doesn't come for 2 days, he falls ill. Then nobody knows. Does that mean no goods will be issued from the raw material will be issued from the store? Does that mean no production will take place? No. So what do? We prepare another person for him. So what do? Is We prepare somebody who's working on the assembly line, we shift him. We say, okay, you go and work there. So he is trained in how to issue items from the store. He gets training on how to issue items from the store. This is what we call job rotation. Say a repairs clinic does not come. When he does not come and a machine breaks down, does it mean we don't use that equipment for another 3-4 days? No. If we have put another person from maybe the person from the stores to look into the repairs, so we train him. So a person is multi-skilled. This is what we call, we get it achieved through job rotation. We get it achieved through job rotation. And what do we call this? We call it
multi-skilling. He can be placed in the stores, he can be repair equipment, he can look into some other aspect, he can work behind the assembly line, or line to
multi-skill that person. So we have flexible people. Similarly, we have flexible machines. So like I think I've referred to this example earlier. For an automobile production, we need an assembly line. And on the assembly line, there are many workers. Each fits a particular item. Somebody puts the, somebody puts the tires. Somebody puts the plastic body. Somebody puts the horn. So as and when the automobile moves across the assembly line, different parts get put in it, and a complete vehicle comes out, rolls out of that assembly line. In a flexible machine, suppose we had different assembly line for different, say different cars. So we will need different space. We need large space, maybe for a Wagoner, for a Swift Desire, for a Baleno, and so on. So for every item that we do, we need space, we need land, we need to set up the structure. There would be capital cost. So this is flexible machine or flexible assembly line, wherein on the same assembly line, we do not know whether it's a wagon or it's an alto which is going to be produced. So the common items are fitted in together. The common items are fitted in together, and gradually when it reaches the end, we know we still can't say whether it's a wagon or an alto. And the differentiated items, which differentiates a wagoner from an alto, are put in later on.
So this is concept of a flexible machine. Today we value flexible machines. Today we value flexible persons also, and flexible plants.
So we have the same wagoner or alto being churned out from your plant at Gurgaon. So this is because of modular design, because we can break the design into small components, and there will be common modules, and there will be
differentiated modules. And the common modules are added earlier, and the differentiated components are added later on. So new product, we try to increase the common components, and we try to reduce on the
uncommon components. This is what we call the concept of frugal design. Frugal means meager. The small change in design will bring about a new product. This is a concept of frugal design. Small change in design will bring about a new product. And for all this, our reliance on technology increases. So we can take the example from a paint industry also. So when in the paint industry, say Asian Paints had to sell so many assortment of colors, at the end of the month or the quarter, they will land up with colors which do not sell. So they changed the technology, and what they did is they increased the number of common they researched, and they made two parts. One was a common part, and the other was an uncommon part. So the common part would be the liquid paint would be colorless liquid in different SKUs, 1000 ml, say 5000 ml, 10,000 ml, and so on. There would be different boxes. And depending upon the color that you want, the color would be small pigments in small bottles. So you choose the color on that color card. You pick on the color, and this is the shade of blue that you want for your the distemper that you want for your what do you call building, or for your house. So that shade of blue,
that liquid, is mixed to the colorless solution. So the colorless solution is in 1000 ml, 10,000 ml, 5,000 ml, in different SKUs, in different sizes. So they mix that
colored pigment into the colorless solution depending upon your requirement. If you want a 5000 ml, they will mix on that and make you the colored liquid. So there is no waste. So this is also a concept of modular design, of frugal design.
So these are the changes that has come about. One is emergence of a global economy. So no organization which is working on a domestic level, if they are working in a domestic level, maybe the distributors,
the markets are abroad. We give an example of global production network, wherein companies from different countries come to India. India is emerging as a, we take example of India because it is emerging as a global production network for electronics, for automobile, because of low labor cost. It is said that a Hyundai sells to UK. An item is sold in UK. An assembled item is sent from here. Not a CKD condition, not a completely knocked down condition wherein you break it down and the components are sold and it's assembled there. If you sell it in a CKD condition, completely knocked down condition, the cost of transportation is less. But then, and the cost of transportation of an assembled vehicle is more. So you send an assembled item from India to UK, wherein you pay a huge import duty. Still, it is cheaper to produce in India. Still, you're able to gain. So, rather than producing in UK, so they prefer to produce it here because we have high skilled labor availability of skilled labor. We have labor at low cost. Then we have government policies which is encouraging, which is providing support. So there are so many reasons because of which electronics industry and automobile sector is developing in India. So this is emergence of a global economy wherein you're based one place, but your seller, your markets, your distributors, your suppliers are all across the globe. Transformation of industrial economy, we have moved from a agro to a service to finally a agro-based economy. And lastly, transformation of the enterprise in itself. There are so many changes which has come about within the enterprise. So we are no more centralized. We believe in decentralization. We don't believe in specialists. We focus more on generalists. We are not producing mass-produced items. We are focusing on customized items. There is no long chain of command or a long hierarchy. We have flatter structures where not networks. We don't have strict loyalty and reporting relationship. Now they have flexible structures. Networks are created and they disintegrate once the goal is achieved. So this is was the last topic of Unit 1. Why study information system? Why its relevance has increased? Because of three major changes which have come about: emergence of a global economy, transformation of an industrial economy,
and transformation of the enterprise in itself. So we are over with Unit 1. Any query, any questions, any doubt that you have, you can please come up.
Ma'am, can you please explain the job rotation again? Yeah. In job rotation, we are focusing on multi-skilling. We want a person should be multi-skilled so that he can be placed anywhere depending upon a requirement. So we have so under job rotation, we took an example like, say for instance, there's a storeman who's issuing materials from the store. When he's issuing materials from the store, there is a certain norm that we follow, and students from commerce background will be able to relate. The two methods are LIFO and FIFO. LIFO is last in, first out. FIFO is first in, first out. So when the raw materials come, we write down on which date it has been received. And now we need to issue this raw material for manufacture. So which method do we follow? If we are following LIFO, so the material which came earlier, I'll trace it and I'll issue that material first and then keep record of it accordingly. So this is known to the storesman. But say for instance, he falls ill and he doesn't come. Does it mean that we will not be able to issue material from the store? Does it mean that production will not take place that day? No. It will happen if nobody knows how to issue material from the store. So what we do is we take a person who is working on the assembly line and we put him on the stores. So he goes and works in the stores and he learns how material is issued from the store. He learns how record keeping is done. He learns to know which item is placed where and so on. This is an example of a repairsman. In this case, somebody who repairs an equipment, if the equipment becomes faulty and the machine breaks down, nobody is there to repair it. So should that take place? No.
So if we keep on rotating, taking a person from the assembly line, send him for training 15 days there, at the stores. Then 15 days he's placed. Then maybe he's trained how to repair an equipment. So we keep, this is what we call job rotation. So multi skills. So people develop multiple skills. So when there is a scarcity or when there is a need, they are shifted. Like we have a, I don't know how many of you know, we have a manufacturing unit where our university is the owner of that unit. They manufacture Unani medicines. That's known as Davakhana. They manufacture Unani medicines. Now there we have MTS, multi. Um, um, uh, so they are multi-skilled staff. So what do we do is sometimes we need, like we have now shifted to a new factory. So their production capacity is huge. Earlier we were producing maybe 1,000 units, but now we are producing maybe 8,000 or 10,000 units in a day. So we need people to pack. So we need, the requirement of packers increase. So what do we do? Those who were involved in production, we send them to the packing because we have large vessels. Earlier, the capacity of the vessels maybe was 300 ml. Now, 3000 ml. Now the capacity is 10,000 ml. So using larger vessels, we are in a day. Earlier, we were producing only 3,000 ml. Now we are producing, say 10,000. So what does happen is 7,000 ml has increased. Now it needs to be filled into, it needs to be packed. So we send people from the production unit to the packing unit. So they know how the sealing is being done. Some of them put them in the cardboard box. Some of them was using the labeling machine. So we need more of packers. So this is multi-skilling. We shift them as per a requirement from one unit to another. So we need more packers today. So all those people who were involved in production, now that we are producing 7,000 plus in a day, earlier we were producing 3,000 ml. Now we're producing 7,000. So we send them to the packing unit. We send them to the packing and the labeling unit. They put them in the cardboard boxes. Then some of them put them in the cartons and put the like sellotape all around. They pack it all around for ready for dispatch. And then some of these products are seasonal. So we produce one unit which goes from March to no October till March. So at that time, what we don't need so many packers. Now we need more people in the production setup. So again, from the packing unit and other units where the items are not in demand during winter season, so we shift them from those which are more which are manufacturing items for needed all throughout the year. Now we need more people in those units which is manufacturing items for the winters. So we shift them. So this is what we mean by job rotation. He's skilled at packing. He knows how to carton, how to put the sellotape on the carton. He knows the boxing, like putting the elements in the cardboard boxes. So we send them. So this shift takes place depending upon the need. Depending upon the need, this is. We have multitask force, multitask skill. So they have multiple skills. So this is what we can do by job rotation. We can train them in more than one work. So the focus is no more on specialists. The focus is more on generalists, so that we can put them into more work. And it is beneficial for both. It is beneficial for the organization because as per your requirement, you will be shifting them from one unit to another. It is beneficial for the person also because he knows multiple skills. What if my organization gives the packing to somebody else? It outsources its packing requirements. Then if he was only a packer, specialist at packing, he would not be needed by the organization. But since we put him on rotation, he knows he's adept in manufacturing. He can help in the manufacturing setup. So his chances of becoming obsolete or becoming useless for the organization is also not there. So it is beneficial for the organization to have multitask people. It is also beneficial for the person to be trained into more than one task. So am I clear? Yes, somebody
Yes,
asked the
ma'am.
question. Any more query? I can I know the name who asked the question?
Ma'am, I asked the question. Anam
Anand.
Rizwan.
Okay, let me know because I'm not able to see you all. Fine, but hopefully we'll be meeting very soon. Pandemic is going to be over. That's what I hear.
Ma'am, are
Okay,
you serious right now?
yes, that is what is in the air. Okay, any more question? I give you example of specialist, job rotation, flexible individual, flexible people, which we call multi-skilling, flexible plants, assembly line, flexible assembly lines, and modules, etc. Any query anybody has? If not, we can wind up and we move tomorrow. I have a class. Yes, we move to the next unit, unit 2. We'll rush through unit 2 in tomorrow's class.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Send me the attendance because
you,
I'm
ma'am.
keeping track now.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh,
Okay, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, students.